So AI-assistive technology is definitely being used by the community, and it's predominantly for grammar and summarization as opposed to pure content generation. This was true last year, but the usage has grown. I think it's also important to note that AI is being used as an assistive technology. Of the respondents, 16 indicated that they were non-native English speakers, and they were using generative AI tools to make sure their proposals were grammatical and clear. Another example that I think is super interesting is the use of transcription software that had AI in it for someone who had limitations with their typing. Participating in the SciPy conference as a speaker or presenter, and honestly science in general, should be something that is accessible and equitable. We see the value of using AI as an assistive technology while also needing to maintain the academic integrity of the work. Like I said, there was a new category of usage here, and it was using AI models to help brainstorm ideas and also assess and improve the quality of the submission. Multiple submissions mention asking an LLM to judge the proposal as a SciPy reviewer and give them feedback. So in conclusion, we will continue to measure and monitor these metrics over time as the conference evolves while continuing to support the community and the goal of scientific computing. Cool. And thank you to our platinum sponsor, NVIDIA, and thanks for hosting the reception last night. Cool. And a quick reminder, you can still get a SciPy conference t-shirt delivered direct to your door. Use a QR code or go to the reception desk to see. Yeah. And some announcements. So you can sign up for today's lightning talks at the NumFocus booth. Remember, if you submitted a lightning talk yesterday and you didn't get called, but you still want to give one, you have to resubmit. We have a virtual-only speed networking from 1:15 to 2:15. It's open to everyone, and you can check the announcement channel for the Zoom link. Please check activities and social. There's always something fun going on. And then tonight in particular, you can climb with SciPy at Climb Tacoma and meet at the 15th Street exit at 7:30 p.m. Sprints are happening this weekend. They are somewhere else, not at this conference center. They're at the William H. Phillip Hall. It is at 1918 Commerce Street. If you try to find this on Google Maps, you will be given multiple options for addresses, but we promise you this is the best one. It's a 7-minute walk east of the convention center. Please bring a charged laptop. Plugs are a little bit hard to find. We'll have breakfast at 8 and then a kickoff at 9. I would like to remind everyone that we do have a code of conduct, and it applies to all conference venues, physical or virtual. There are multiple ways of finding us, and so please do not hesitate to reach out if you need to. A masking reminder is, again, please consider wearing a mask to limit the risk of spreading airborne diseases, and also we do have free masks available at the registration desk. Okay, let's get to our schedule. So up next, we have our keynote with Chuck Harris. Directly after that, in the same space, we have the SciPy Tools plenary session, and then we get into track talks. After our track talks, we'll have a lunch and learn here with Chris Lamb, the VP of Software and Compute Platforms at NVIDIA. And then today is our first day of Birds of a Feather session. Birds of a Feather sessions, if you've never been to them, are community discussions. They're not as formal as a talk, and it's a really great way to hold conversations with your fellow SciPy attendees. Hybrid is also having their virtual speed networking event at that time. We'll have more track talks in the afternoon, a quick break, and even more track talks until this evening, where we'll get to our lightning talks, and then our final round of Birds of a Feather sessions.
Okay, so I'm here to intro our next keynote speaker. Yesterday I talked a little bit about how Julie and I, as conference chairs, select and recruit keynote speakers for SciPy. And as Julie said yesterday, it's the year of the snake, and an auspicious time for Python, so we wanted to highlight our maintainer and project community. There are so many amazing packages highlighted at SciPy each year, and you've already seen some yesterday, sampling from the tools plenary, and you will again today after the keynote. But you want to know something else? Another auspicious little fact? Around 2005, but I'll admit I'm not the best at my Git archaeology, so some of you can correct me if you feel like it. We start seeing the first name dropping of NumPy in the community. That makes this a 20 plus or minus a few years anniversary of this package. and the one that so many of us know and love. So who better to highlight than a foundational member of our ecosystem and a longtime NumPy contributor and maintainer? Charles Harris is a longtime contributor of core packages in the scientific Python ecosystem, including numeric, numarray, NumPy, and SciPy. Throughout his time on these projects, he has reviewed and mentored a massive number of new folks' work. He has reviewed PRs from hundreds of new and first-time contributors, and he's worked with dozens of longtime maintainers. He's attended all but 2 of the SciPy conferences since 2003, a feat very few of us can even come close to. Up until 2013, he worked for the Space Dynamic Laboratory as a problem solver and mathematician. He's currently a NumPy maintainer and release manager. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Charles for us to hear about his dinner time party with all of these foundational packages.